Always great chatting with my next guest, Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor, who is going to be sparring Jake Paul, we hear, coming up before his fight against Ben Askren, the boxing fight. Pretty Boy, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, James. Staying in shape, eating healthy. I was recently 195 pounds.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, all muscle. So Antonio was like, yo, you need to start losing weight, buddy. You're really heavy. So I'm probably down to like 184 right now.
Wow. Okay. It's definitely been a bit since we last talked, because I don't think I'd ever thought you'd be that heavy, but good for you, man. I know you've been on a roll lately with your MMA career, but we got to start first with what I talked about off the top. You're going to be sparring Jake Paul. I saw everything on Twitter, trying to pay attention here. So it's BJ Flores, who Paul's training with, right? He sort of said, come to the gym. You're like, all good. So what's the latest on this? Do we have a time and a date for when this sparring is going to be taking place?
The sparring will take place in Miami. I'll be flying out with Miami, hopefully with Antonio McKee and Baby Slice. It'll most likely happen on Friday because I fly in on Thursday. It's typical sparring, but it's a little bit more intense because you're wearing headgear and you're wearing, the pads and stuff. So with 16-ounce gloves, of course, I'm used to training, Antonio. What Antonio does when we spar in training camp, he's like, hey, we don't wear headgear, and we only spar with 10-ounce gloves because they're the only closest thing to MMA gloves almost. So I've sparred so much that I look at it as an everyday sparring, but just a little bit more intense. Sparring with heavier guys like Joey Davis, it gets intense because I'm a lot small. I'm probably one of the smallest guys at our gym. I'm 5'7". Right. Everybody else is like 5'9" and up.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I know you do train with a lot bigger guys. I mean, AJ sort of being one of the lighter ones there at the gym, but that's crazy. Okay, so you're flying out next week with Antonio McKee. You guys are going to head out there. Are you worried at all they might lock the door or something and this might not happen? Because I know, there's no contract or anything. It's just sparring. Has that crossed your mind that this might not happen, especially with Jake's fight on the 17th?
It'll happen. It seems like a good man of his words. I have to sign a waiver, same things. I don't know if they're going to have me sign an NDA. I'm not sure. I've never signed one before. But, I'm going to keep it professional. It's sparring. I'm not here trying to kill the guy. I'm here to get him work and see where he's at. Because at the end of the day, why hurt the man who's trying to make his money? I'm not the type of guy to stop a man from making his money. Hey, I'll help you get prepared, but I want to see where you at. BJ says, hey, he spars with a lot of pro fighters and all this and that. I'm like, okay, hey, but doesn't mean you have the experience.
Right. And I think even if this doesn't end up happening, just the fact that you're going out there, the fact that there's talk of this is going to bring more notoriety to sort of your career. Not that it needs any. I mean, you're everywhere, man. I see you all the time on social media, and even with your fights, you've got a really crazy fan base. But I guess you kind of see this as a no-lose situation because, like I said, if it happens, it's great. You get the experience. If it doesn't happen, at least you got your name on that YouTube, fan base radar, so to speak, right?
And I've discussed about fighting Jake Paul years
That's
ago.
right.
Last year. Last year about me fighting him. If Ben Askren pulls out, I'll be more than welcome, and happy to step in and fill in Ben Askren's position. As a replacement. I'd be willing to do that as a replacement. I called him out because it's like, hey, you're ducking me. Why fight someone who doesn't have a boxing experience but can get it done, and fight someone who has some experience? I'm an 0-1 pro in boxing. My last fight was like 3 years ago. And, I was fighting at like 165, I believe. But I'm excited for the opportunity. I get to meet the guy. I get to spar the guy, grab a beer afterwards, AKA, whatever, take a picture. I'm up for the challenge. A lot of people are like, well, he's a lot bigger than you. I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm a pro. This is our job.
Yeah, you're going to channel some inner Rocky there, being kind of the smaller guy and going in there and taking on a Jake Paul. Because I think that's part of the reason he would even take this. I mean, if you were a heavyweight, I don't think he would be wanting to spar you a week before his fight against Ben Askren, like I said. Right.
And BJ seems like a cool guy. he's one hell of a boxer. I would not take that away from him. He has his career. He's done a great job in his career. He knows what he's talking about, and he knows what he's doing.
How much boxing experience do you have? You talked about the one pro fight, which, by the way, credit to you, because Jake Paul doesn't even have that against an actual boxer. He's fought an NBA player and a YouTube guy, so at least you have that over him. But how much have you sort of, had in terms of boxing training? Because obviously you're a martial artist, but you got to train everything, right?
Yeah, I've been boxing since I was 18, on and off. Right. I've sparred a lot of professionals. Kareem Mayfield. Me and Kareem Mayfield would spar a lot. Bilal, a lot of upcoming guys at the time. One of my good buddies, David Lopez, he's now with TMT with Floyd Mayweather, so he just signed there. I've been sparring for so long. I've been boxing for so long. It's just I never really took boxing as a passion and took it serious as I would in MMA. If I did it now, I'll definitely be in the ranks. There are some talks of me doing some couple of boxing matches this year, couple to see where I'm at. But I'm comfortable with MMA because I'm able to switch gears, from boxing to wrestling, mixing it up.
How much sparring have you done leading into this? I know with sparring, it's a little bit weird, right? Because it's not like you don't know how to box once you've learned how to box, right? It's just a matter of, maybe tweaking a few things, but it's not like you could not box for a while and still know how to box, right? So how much have you done leading up to this? Is it a lot or is it a little bit? What are you sort of looking at heading into this?
Well, when we're sparring, Antonio makes us spar at least 3 days a week.
Okay, gotcha.
We're sparring 3 days a week, and I think it's an hour and a half of sparring.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty intense. And by the way, we've mentioned him a number of times here. Antonio McKee might be one of the best coaches in MMA. I don't know why he doesn't get more shine for what he's done with not only AJ, his son, but Joey Davis, yourself. We'll talk about your career in a second, the resurgence you've had. But Antonio is great. So for people watching this and being like, this is all smoke, Antonio would not be participating in something like this or not doing this if he didn't feel A, you would do well in sparring, and B, wasting his time away from his fighters to go do this. So if Antonio's got a stamp of approval, it's probably pretty legit, right? We got to mention that.
Antonio's more of the back end. He likes to be incognito when it comes to social media and things because
it's true.
He's a lot old schooler. You guys are probably like around the same age. How old are you, by any chance, James?
I'm 36. He's a little bit older than me.
Okay, a little bit older. So you kind of understand social media wasn't his style growing up.
Of course, yeah.
So he's more incognito. I had my time to shine. Take all the glory. It's a lot. When you see a lot of these boxing coaches or MMA coaches like Javier Mendez, and
Greg
a lot
Jackson.
of these guys, Greg Jackson, all them, they're more like, hey, I don't need the spotlight. Spotlight is for my peoples. So Antonio's done an amazing job, and Antonio has so much amazing thing that's coming up very soon, and he's working with Rampage. Rampage is looking amazing.
Is he really? I haven't heard much from him. So is Rampage not retired then? What's the deal with him?
I don't know, but Rampage is losing weight, and he's losing weight fast. The man just lost about 30 pounds.
Okay.
Like, the guy is leaning up. I'm like, hold up, Rampage. You got to take it easy on me now. He's looking amazing. And Antonio is just doing a good job because now he's setting the foundation for all of us to where we need to be. And he's keeping it real. A lot of coaches will not be honest with you about your career and who you are as a person and where you're going.
I remember at one point in your career, man, you were 2-4. You've now won 5 straight fights. You're 7-5 overall. You got a win over Dean Barry, which now looks even better because he's in the UFC now. What has been the biggest difference for you over these last couple of fights? Because you've been on a roll, man, and it's honestly one of the most incredible things I've seen in MMA to, start off, and you fought tough guys, to your credit, but to see you go on the run you're on now, what's been the difference?
Man, staying focused. I think a lot of it was lighting that fire under my butt. Antonio really kept it real. He says, look, either take this serious or quit. So don't come back to the gym and waste my time ever again. So he kept it real, and I think a lot of the motivation came through James Gallagher, like determination to I want to get that revenge on him. For me, and he said, hey, if you get some more wins under your belt, I'll give you a rematch. But I got the wins under my belt. I'm past the James Gallagher. Now I'm in a new career for myself. I'm looking to get into the UFC. I've spoken to the UFC, a couple of matchmakers. They told my manager, Antonio, hey, win 2 to 3 more fights, we'll sign you. No big deal. And having that motivation is there. it's right there, James. And it's like, okay, I'm just 2 to 3 ways to wins from being in the UFC.
That's true. I know. I was looking at your record. I think you're definitely, in a good spot right now, so to speak. And like I mentioned, that win over Dean Barry looks even better now in terms of what you have. So you're technically a free agent right now. Like, and I imagine, if I'm just taking a guess here, you want to keep your options open. So if the UFC does come calling, you're not tied up in a contract, correct?
Exactly. I've spoken to an organization. I can't say it yet because it's going to be a crazy organization. I spoke to 2 organizations that's fighting sometime in late July, but I will be fighting July 3rd in Germany.
Oh wow! Okay, for what? Yeah, it's top secret promotion, obviously, but yeah,
top secret promotion, and we're discussing if I win this fight, I fight a very interesting fighter. If I do decide to take this fight, if I win my debut for the promotion, but right now, Germany 3rd is where I'm fighting, and then I hear that Cage Warriors is coming to California. So hopefully Cage Warriors is something I can do, and see where that goes. I told a lot of people I'll definitely dominate Morgan Chapa from Cage Warriors, even a 45 champ. I've always wanted to fight Patty Pimblett, but fortunately our careers never crossed paths. So
in the UFC, he just got signed, right? So
yep, and I wish him the best of luck, man. The guy's done an amazing job with his career. Right now I'm just focused, taking one fight at a time.
Love it.
And by doing that, I'm going to dominate everybody. The last time I was even taken down in a fight was James Gallagher. That was right. The last person to take me down. Everybody else, I've dominated it with my wrestling, and my wrestling improved so much, which has made me win all my fights.
What weight class would you compete in this fight? Because that was the other thing I was going to ask. I know you bounced around different weight classes. What ideally would you like to fight at?
Right now, 55s, just to get my weight down slowly. Because the last time I fought at 145 was against Adam Borix. That was April 17, 2017. That was a long time ago. So I'll probably take a 55 fight, then work my way down, stay in shape, and get down to 150, and then from there, 145. That awesome. Way, I'm slowly getting, because if I just drop down from 195 to 45, it's not going to look good.
Before we go, I do got to mention, so this sparring will not be filmed, and there's obvious reasons for that. I mean, I saw some people giving you a hard time about that on social media, but it's like, that makes sense. Jake's fighting, that could jeopardize things, like with betting and all that. So you got to keep it under wraps. So how will we know, like, are you going to tweet out what, how are we going to find out what had happened with this? Do you have to wait till after the Askren fight, or what's going
I won't tweet nothing outward. I'll just give you, like,
an emoji. Give us an emoji. This guy will figure out the clues.
That's all I can say or do, but I'm not allowed no cameras, but you're dealing with Jake Paul.
Yeah.
If he gets a lucky shot on me, it's probably going to be recorded and it's probably going to be uploaded. Who knows? So I have to be alert and aware 100%, and I got to realize and think to myself, they're recording this. They're telling me not to record this, but they're most likely going to record this. Because if I look like crap and you see him beating me up, they're going to post it. Most likely I'm not going to get beat up, which I don't get beat up because I'm the pretty boy. But I'm going to respect BJ's request, no cameras. I told him what goes in the gym stays in the gym. That's you. You guys are working on it. It's your money. I understand.
Anthony, thanks so much for this, man. We got to do this more often. Always good catching up with you, man. I'm excited to see what happens here. It's going to be crazy. You, Jake Paul, sparring next week in Miami. I'll be keeping tabs on social media. In the meantime, where can people get a hold of you on social media? And what else you got going on in terms of sponsors and all that stuff? I'll give you the last word.
Instagram, Anthony_prettyboy, and Twitter, Anthony_for_real. So shout out to Lana Egg Whites, and shout out to my egg weights.